Okay, quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, which you probably know how to do if the equation is in standard form and if it doesn't have to be simplified. So remember, this is standard form. And it's just another way to find the x-intercepts. That's all it is. So I realize that the examples on Khan are asking you to simplify, and that's where it can get a little tricky. So the one I'm looking at is 10x squared equals 6 plus 9x. That doesn't quite look like this, but I can easily make it look like this. Remember, you're saying, when does this equal 0? So I'm going to move the 6 to the left side and a 9x to the left side. So minus 9x and minus 6 would give me 10x squared minus 9x minus 6 equals, I kind of squished that together, but that would be 0. So then in this case, A would be 10, B would be negative 9, and C would be negative 6. So then I'm just going to plug into quadratic formula. Opposite of B would be positive 9 plus or minus square root of b squared. Now when you square a negative, you get a positive. When you square a positive, you get a positive. So I'm just going to square negative 9, 81 minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2 times A. Well, let's just put 20. 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, so that's going to give me 9 plus or minus, and you can save yourself a little time here by just typing this part of the equation in the calculator. A lot of you are resistant to doing that, and this is where the most mistakes are made, by not being careful with subtracting a negative. So it gives me positive 321 over 20. Now, when I am looking at the choices, that is a choice. But I bet the next one, I'm going to have to simplify it. So let me do another example and show you that process. Okay, so I want it to look like ax squared plus bx plus c. So I'm going to move the, really doesn't matter which way we move things. I'll just move the 8 over to this side. So that would give me negative 6x squared. I'm going to put the negative 3x second, and then negative 2 plus 8 would be 6. So a is negative 6, b is negative 3, and c is positive 6. So when I substitute into quadratic formula, negative b, opposite of b, would be positive 3, plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac. So b squared is going to be 9 minus 4 times negative 6 times positive 6 over 2 times negative 6, which would be negative 12. So I'm going to type in 9 minus 4 times negative 6 times 6. You could just put a times there. You don't have to put parentheses. That gives me 153. But when I look at the choices, I don't see this as a choice. And that's because they've simplified square root of 153. So we did this in homework way back when you do a factor tree, and write the number as a product of prime numbers, then you can easily take out your perfect squares. This is 9, square root of 9 is 3. So square root of 153 is really 3 square root of 17. So you've got 3 plus or minus 3 square root of 17 over negative 12. And what they are going to do is they're going to reduce. So if it helps, you can split this up. You've got 3 over negative 12 plus or minus 3 square root of 17 over negative 12. Well, this is going to reduce to 1 over negative 4, and the A little confusing, but you'll probably be able to pick out the right answer, even if you mess up on that part. And then this reduces to 1 over 4. So you get square root of 17 over negative 4. Now they're not going to write it separate. They're going to write it as 1 plus or minus square root of 17 over negative 4. If this is confusing, I am giving credit for less than 100% on this topic. So if you just can get 50% or above, then I will give you credit.